Okay, welcome back, friends. Welcome back to Corbett Report Radio. This is James Corbett of CorbettReport.com, and we are going to switch gears a little, as we tend to do here on Thursday nights. We're going to go into FoodWorldOrder.com, which is one of the many websites of the second hardest working man in alternative media, James Evan Pilato, of MediaMonarchy.com and HolyAccess.com and CyberspaceWar.com and FoodWorldOrder.com and NewWorldNextWeek.com. He's got enough websites to start a small army of his own, so I hope you'll play along tonight and switch to FoodWorldOrder.com so you can read along with us some of these very interesting stories that he's got posted up. James, thanks for joining us once again.
Thanks so much, man. I missed not being here last week.
That's right. It's been a little while, so I'm sure the listeners will have missed your dulcet tones. And but I hope they at least caught your most recent podcast episode, which I understand has been quite the hit, and deservedly so. It was a great episode.
Yeah, it has. You know, you can never really plan which episodes are really going to take off, but I think sometimes when you finish an episode, you can kind of go, yeah, damn, that was a good one. So it's nice to then get the feedback. So for folks out there, that's episode 269 from MediaMonarchy.com. I call it Mind Games. James, we'll look at Food World Order, and you mentioned New World Next Week, and a lot of those articles you were just hitting in the previous segments are some of our related stories to the third and final story on our New World Next Week about the Canadian climate con, right?
Yeah, that's right. I got a little frustrated at the end there because there was so much to go through, but not enough time. So I figured, well, I'll use this soapbox to get it through.
So, James, let's take it from the Department of Good News. We have to have good news, and there is good news. Farmers markets keep growing. We'll take this from CivilEats.com, and it's right on track with what you've already been discussing tonight. The worst drought since the 1950s continues to wreak havoc on America's breadbasket, shriveling up commodity corn and soybean crops and driving up food prices. But there is heartening news from the local agriculture sector. Farmers markets are booming. Last week, the USDA released its annual update of the National Farmers Market Directory, which is now 7,864 markets strong. It's a 9.6% uptick since last year and more than double the number of markets since 2004. The latest tally was announced in preparation of National Farmers Market Week, which started this past Sunday and has been formally acknowledged by the U.S. Agriculture Secretary since 1996. As stated in a proclamation signed by Secretary Tom Vilsack, one of the goals of the week-long commemoration is to, quote, further awareness of the many contributions farmers make to daily life in America. I would say we always have some massive understatement of each episode. Maybe, hopefully this is that one. In addition to California, which far surpasses any other state with 827 markets, New York, Massachusetts, Michigan, and Wisconsin are the 5 most farmer market-centric states. The Mid-Atlantic region, Delaware, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, my home state of West Virginia, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania has experienced the most growth, a combined 15.8% increase of markets since last year. Over the years, farmers markets have been criticized for being exclusive dens of foodiedom, but access is changing, albeit slowly. As of last year, less than 1/4 of all farmers markets were equipped with wireless EBT technology to redeem SNAP, that's Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, food stamp vouchers. A $4 million USDA grant issued in May aims to make more markets SNAP voucher friendly. James, this is what we're talking about. This is the revolution. Not only happens, in your refrigerator or in your medicine cabinet, it happens a block and a half away from me where the Irvington Farmers Market is, and hopefully it's happening a block away from where anyone else out there is.
Hopefully so. As we've said many times, this is the revolution, and you're exactly right. And we've talked about it many times that getting off of the big food, big supermarket chain store mentality is an absolutely essential part to all of this, because we fund our own enslavement to the system by giving them our dollars every day. But let's look at that. In addition to California, which far surpasses any other state with 827 markets, New York, Massachusetts, Michigan, and Wisconsin are the 5 most farmer market centric states. That's interesting to me. As a non-American, what do I know? But those would not be the states that would necessarily come to my mind for most farmer market centric. Where's Oregon?
That's a great question. That is a good question. I don't know where they fall on that list. It's possible we're not quite big enough, maybe population-wise, to make it one
I'm
of the
wondering
most.
if that's per capita, but then you got like Wisconsin or something in there. It's bizarre.
And then with the other ones, maybe their growth, perhaps Oregon has already kind of been there, so
Yeah.
we're not seeing the massive growth because we were hopefully kind of ahead of the curve.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I would assume that that it, like Portland, I'm sure there are many places out there with a lot of farmers markets, and I hope if you don't know your local farmers market that you make the effort to find out about it and start frequenting it, because once again, that is the revolution.
So James, you're talking about temperature, and it's 97 degrees right now, even at 7:30 at night here in Portland. We're having pretty much our hottest, I hope, week of the year, and I'm not a fan of the heat. And folks who have been following my work and following these shows for at least the last month know that I'm over a month now quitting smoking. I've had a lot of sleep issues, so then of course the heat, good Lord, does not help me. But it's getting better every day, and keep kind of fighting the fight. Should we continue?
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. Sorry, I didn't know what to say to that. But yes, I just want to say good job.
Yeah.
Hang in there. And
Yeah.
don't worry, it'll be over in a few days. You'll get rain. Tons of rain.
I hope so. Continuing on all the latest on foodworldorder.com, and again, always a huge thanks to my man Adam in Nova Scotia for keeping the site updated. He basically does all the standalone posts, and then I jump in here on Thursdays and post the big binge and purge, which we'll hit in the last segment. But from Mercola.com, James, fat, not glucose, is the preferred fuel for your body. And again, James, I've tried to make these positive changes, which I'll definitely get into even more tomorrow on my live show. The quitting smoking has been the one massive change that then, for me, set off kind of a chain reaction of other positive events. So then I see these stories and go, yeah, that's right. While we may consider ourselves to be at the pinnacle of human development, our modern food manufacturing processes have utterly failed at improving health and increasing longevity. During the Paleolithic period many thousands of years ago, our ancestors ate primarily vegetables, fruit, nuts, roots, and meat, and a wide variety of it. This diet is high in fats and protein, and low in grain and sugar-derived carbohydrates. The average person's diet today, on the other hand, is the complete opposite, and the average person's health is a testament of what happens when you adhere to a faulty diet. I think just yesterday or 2 days ago, Alex Jones had a doctor on saying, there's an epidemic of illness because everyone's food is terrible. Humans today suffer more chronic and debilitating diseases than ever before, and there can be little doubt that our food choices play a major role in this development. Quite simply, we're not designed to eat large amounts of refined sugar, high fructose corn syrup, cereal, bread, potatoes, and pasteurized milk products. As Mark Sisson states in a featured article, and again, all these links, everything will be provided for you. If you want to live a better life and eat the best foods nature provided for health and fitness, then it's time to ditch the old paradigms and climb on to the primal approach to eating better. James, I know, and I've thought of, and again with the heat, it makes it kind of easier to go, well, I sure as hell don't want to turn on the stove. And you can have fruits and nuts and vegetables and lots of wraps. And today I'm like, oh, I'm out of almonds. It's so much better, James.
It really is, and that's one of the great things about living in Japan, because in the summer it's just too hot to eat anything that even approaches hot. So there's a lot of just cool foods and things like that are obviously much healthier than a lot of the crap that we eat on a regular basis. And it's so obvious to me that you just didn't have the 350-pound overly obese people walking around in such wide sorry, that was a bad pun, in such large numbers. I don't know how else to say that. A few decades ago, or several decades ago, this is a recent phenomenon, and it's directly tied to the processed crap food that people are eating on a daily basis now. I think that couldn't be any more clear.
Mm-hmm. James, let's do an update on a story we did hit here 2 weeks ago. Man begins 30-day jail sentence for collecting rainwater on his own property. Gary Harrington, the Oregon man convicted of collecting rainwater and snow runoff on his rural property, turned himself in last Wednesday a week and a day ago, to begin serving his 30-day jail sentence in Medford, Oregon. Quote, "I'm sacrificing my liberty so we can stand up as a country and stand for our liberty," Harrington told a crowd of supporters gathered outside of the Jackson County Jail. James, I went to the dentist today, and of course, you're talking about health issues, and they're, of course, super excited about my quitting smoking and, better eating and more exercise. The hygienist hadn't heard this story, and it blows people's minds when you tell them this, and they're just like, why? And I can't really exactly say why, other than we worry that, Oregon's turning into some crazy New York-styled collectivist, nightmare.
Right. And that's the point, isn't it? I mean, there's no one who hears that story and goes, good, I'm glad they got him. Damn, those people collecting rainwater. Obviously, it's the stupidest thing ever, but it functions because they don't tend to hype up and publicize these incidents. So it's good that there are sources like Food World Order drawing attention to these stories so that people can regain that sense of outrage, which is absolutely central to understanding that we are living increasingly in that police state and that we have to do something about it.